When Ghost of Yōtei launches, players will step into Edo period Hokkaido. But what would that world taste like? To find out, I traveled to Hokkaido itself. I climbed Mount Yōtei, visited Ainu villages, and ate my way through modern Hokkaido cuisine. Today we're cooking 3 dishes that tell that story. Ainu Deer Ohaw, the traditional stew of Hokkaido's indigenous people, Hokkaido's beloved soup curry, and finally, a crispy Venison Katsu, bridging past and present. This is my journey to bring the flavors of Hokkaido and the spirit of Ghost of Yōtei into the kitchen. So Ghost of Yōtei, the game, takes place on the northernmost isle of Japan, which is called Hokkaido, and this was mostly inhabited in the 1600s by the Ainu people, who are ethnically different than the Wajin Japanese people. So what's interesting about this is that we are going to see cooking as a mechanic in the game. To start our culinary journey, we need a dish that could have been simmering in Hokkaido back in 1603. This was the everyday food of Hokkaido's first people, and it set the foundation for the island's cuisine. Simple, hearty, and deeply connected to the land, Oha is where the story of Hokkaido food begins. This dish does not take long to put together, and just like in Ghost of Yōtei, this is a dish that you could easily make in a pot over an open campfire. Now, if you'd like to make Oha at home, there are some substitutions that will make this easier for you. If you don't have venison, use salmon fillets, skin on, cut them into large chunks. You could use bear meat like they did as well. These would all be traditional ingredients. I've already been soaking the kombu here in cold water. You can pre-soak the kombu in 2 quarts of water if you want. What we're gonna do is we are going to go ahead and turn the heat on, and we're gonna bring it up to a bare simmer. Simmer it very lightly for 5 minutes, and then turn it off and let it steep for 5 minutes. You wanna be careful that you don't over simmer the kelp, because it will become very bitter. So what is gosari, or Korean fern break? So you can see that it's these dried stems that have been rehydrated with fern leaves on the top. We're using the leeks instead. This could have been wild onion. If you have access to wild onion, you can go ahead and use that instead. And then we're using some root vegetables too. And the venison slices, I froze the deer leg and then sliced it very thin, so these are gonna cook super quickly. Okay, I'm gonna put a timer on for 5 minutes on this. Just a little bit of a simmer, turning it down, way down. Okay, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna use what's called a rangiri cut onto this carrot. And so what we're gonna do is put our knife at a 45-degree angle, and we're gonna cut, and then we're gonna turn it a quarter turn, cut, and we're trying to make them approximately the same size. And the reason why we do it this way is that it's going to cook more quickly because it has more surface area. The surface area is also gonna get more of the flavor of the broth in there. Our other root vegetables for this dish are potato, leeks, and daikon radish. Okay, I'm gonna give this a stir real quick. Our kombu's been sitting here for a while. We're gonna save some of the kombu. We may put it in just for aesthetic reasons at the end of the dish. I'm putting all of our root vegetables, so our daikon, carrots, and potatoes in here now. I'm gonna go ahead and add our barley at the same time so that it puffs up and gets some of that broth. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna let this simmer. You guys may not know this, but a lot of the kelp that is used in dashi stock in Japan actually comes from Hokkaido itself. During this time period, this was actually a very valuable trade good that the Ainu would trade to the ethnically Japanese people. So now, let's take a look at our oha. It's been in here simmering away for 10 minutes. Now we're going to put our other ingredients in there. So we have our gosari, or you can use fiddlehead ferns. These are the Korean ferns. We have our leek, and we have our venison slices. And these are gonna cook very quickly. You know, I have about ½ a pound of venison here. And what we're trying to do is we're just trying to cook it all the way through. So make sure that our big root vegetables are soft enough, a little bit translucent here, a little bit soft on the surface. Gonna need probably another 5 minutes or so of boiling, somewhere in the range of having soft vegetables. Here we are, we're good. All right, we're done. So here we go. Here is our yuk oha, or our deer soup in the Ainu style. This is a dish that you absolutely would have been able to make in 1603 at the time of the game of Ghost of Yōtei. We have some thinly sliced venison and root vegetables. Curling on top are our gosari, our fern break. This could also be fiddlehead ferns. So wild foraged food, definitely it. And we made it with a kombu broth. which definitely would have been available at the time as well. And it's a very like light and subtle broth, super nice. So you have the umami from the kombu, and then you have these big chunks of vegetables that are nicely softened up. You have some of the barley in there, and you can absolutely serve this with a side of white rice as well, and it's pretty much a complete meal. You can add more barley and get your grains directly in there like we did for a one-pot dish, and it does have a little meat. If Oha connects us to Hokkaido's ancient past, soup curry shows us how the island's cuisine evolved into something modern and global. So I have some French rack lamb here, and I was just gonna make chicken soup curry, but then my wife said, make me lamb soup curry. So here we are with French rack lamb. So I'm gonna be cutting them into individual ribs. Okay, let's talk about our lamb that we're gonna use. I'm gonna grill this and add it to our soup curry at the end. So all we're gonna do here.
Can you salt bay, please? Thank you.
There is a reason why you do this actually, guys. This is technically good technique. I'm gonna be putting some pepper on here also. I'm gonna use some of this Japanese curry powder now. I'm gonna rub it in like a dry rub, and we'll grill it like this. So we'll spread some of this curry powder over the surface of our lamb, and we'll just let it sit. So I need to heat up some butter. Use a couple tablespoons of butter over here. I'm gonna use 3 cloves of garlic here. Go ahead and mince the garlic. So 2 to 3 cloves of garlic, a tablespoon of fresh ginger. We're gonna dice up an onion now. Onion slam. This is S&B curry powder. This is the Japanese curry powder. And you might wonder, how did the Japanese get curry powder in the first place? Did it come from India? No, it came from the British. And once the British started doing trade with Japan, they brought curry powder in. Curry powder itself is more or less a British invention, because what happened is that when the British had colonized India, a lot of British people went over there to work in the colony, and they came back to the UK and they really just enjoyed Indian food. But they couldn't get the fresh spices because they couldn't grow the fresh spices and they weren't able to be transported. So they instead devised how to dry out these ingredients, turn them into a powder, and store them on the way to Great Britain so that they could enjoy British Indian food, and it became its own entire cuisine. Okay, add some onions now. Okay, so we have our ginger. In here we put our 1 diced onion, 3 cloves of minced garlic, and a tablespoon of fresh minced ginger, and we're just going to get these going in the butter. Sprinkle some kosher salt on, it does help the onions cook. So we only need to do this for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then we're going to start to add our spices and get everything heated up. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of tomato paste here, and tomato paste is one of those ingredients that I feel like you really need to fry a little bit beforehand, because you do want it to be a little bit caramelized, and it adds a lot of depth of flavor. So we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of our curry powder, 1 teaspoon of garam masala, and for spiciness, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And we wanna activate these spices by frying them up in here for just a second on the heat. You will start to get that wonderful smell of spices. Got a little stuff on the bottom here. We're gonna deglaze with 3 cups of chicken stock. This is homemade chicken stock that I have. 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, so 1 tablespoon here of mirin. So we're gonna use 2 tablespoons also of mango chutney. I'm also gonna add 1 solitary block of Japanese curry roux. And the way to evenly incorporate this is we wanna put the ladle in to the dish like this. Get some of the soup into the bowl and then start to stir the roux in. And this is gonna thicken everything up nicely because it has flour and butter in it. And the reason why we're incorporating it in the ladle is if we don't do this, we're not entirely sure that it's incorporated fully. So as we can see now, it's a little bit thicker than it was before. And we're gonna add 2 very small bay leaves. I'm gonna move this to a different burner because I'm gonna start deep frying on the other burner. How do you cut a cabbage squash? I will show you. What you're gonna do is let's give it a slice in half, and we're gonna say, wow, there sure is a lot of gunk in the middle and seeds. So let's take out the gunk. We are just going to take a spoon and carve out the middle like you would a pumpkin. So what we wanna do is make sure we get all of the stringy bits out of the center of the kabocha squash. So as you can see now, we have the nice clean cavity. And we'll just give a couple little V cuts here. And from here, just cut it like this. And what we want are gonna get some, remember, we can eat the outside of the kabocha squash. It's nice and delicious. So we're gonna cut these into little crescents. As you can see, this eggplant is a lot smaller than you might see in an American grocery store. I'm gonna cut this guy in half, and then we'll do something fun. I'm going to cross-hatch the back of this with my knife. And the reason we're doing this is the oil will get inside, obviously. We're doing shallow cuts, so as you can see, ooh. So when it expands, when we fry it, it'll look really neat. Oh yeah, frying our chicken leg. So we just want to get some color on the outside of the chicken, and then we'll go ahead and drop it into our soup curry and then cook it all the rest of the way through. While we're waiting on that, I guess I'll do some potatoes, just a couple. We'll try this. Hopefully this technique works and these potatoes don't take a long time. So we got some color on this chicken now. I'm just gonna go ahead and drop it into the soup curry broth. All right, so oil's at 375 Fahrenheit or 190 Celsius. So we're dropping these carrot spears in here. All right, let's check out how our carrots are doing. They're pretty squishy now. Okay, I think these are good. They look beautiful. Woo. A little bit floppy, which is what we want. I'm gonna do the potatoes next. They're a little crispy on the outside. It's probably good. We'll try them in a minute. Kabocha squash is done. The rest of the stuff's gonna come pretty fast. All right, here we go. In goes the eggplant. So as you guys can see, you know, we get this, the cross hatching really opens up when we fry it. And this is gonna go pretty quickly. This one's probably already done. The mushrooms are done. Broccoli! So we got a nice little bit of color on these. I pierced through the stem. Feel like these are good enough. All right, so here's our soup curry as it stands right now. Smells fantastic. I did add a little bit, about a half a cup more water to it because it had thickened a little bit. So we're gonna add a cup of coconut milk. We're gonna let it sit while we go ahead and grill up this curry lamb. Okay, so here's our lamb again that we have refrigerated. So we're gonna use a high heat oil. I'm gonna use some canola oil here. And we'll probably try giving these maybe 3 minutes aside. These ones are the thinner ones. We'll try giving them about 3 minutes aside. I'm gonna push them down on the grill a little bit. All right, that's looking pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip these guys. So we have the soup curry at the bottom, and we put in a bunch of deep fried vegetables, and now we have these delicious grilled lamb chops.
For our final dish, we're bringing the story full circle, combining the Ainu tradition of game meat with modern Japanese cooking techniques. The result? Venison Katsu.
I'm going to try and turn this into a somewhat palatable chop. You'll see that it has this layer of fascia on top and this silvery layer called silver skin. And this is fascia that groups the muscles together. And we're gonna try and get rid of some of that. And what I need is a flat piece of meat that I can turn into a cutlet, which I think I can get from the back side of this. Okay, I think we got a good cutlet here. For our tenderization, what we're gonna do is take our cutlet here, cover it with some saran wrap, wrap it up, and then it's hammer time. So we've got these, they're pretty thin now. Should be good for frying. Hopefully the tenderization has helped somewhat. Here's our venison cutlet. Before we do anything, we need to season it with salt and pepper. We're going to crack a whole egg into this dish, and I'm gonna use chopsticks to break it up. So the way I like to do this is that one hand is for the flour and the other hand is for the egg wash and the panko. And the reason why is otherwise your hands are gonna get incredibly messy. So you're gonna put it in there, shake off the extra flour, transfer hands, put it into the egg wash. The flour helps the egg stick to the meat, and the egg helps the panko breadcrumbs stick. So you need to do all of these steps to get it evenly coated. And here we go. Venison Katsu. Luckily it cooks quickly because it's a very thin cut of meat. Okay, we're down at about 375 again, so we're gonna give these another quick fry because this will extra crisp them up. You can see kind of through it in some parts too, the dark red of the deer meat, the venison. So we're gonna leave these to rest. Here's our venison katsu. Looks very pretty. So hopefully we've shown how in Ghost of Yōtei, they would have some traditional Ainu cuisine, and we can use ingredients to make a one-pot meal, just like in the game. And now we've shown the evolution of that from 1603 to modern-day Hokkaido with that very delicious soup curry. And then we also made that venison katsu as a fusion between old ingredients and new techniques.